I must state, do not do what I am describing here, okay? I refuse to be at fault because you decided to be Patrick Starr's intellectual equivalent. Anyway, I've made it no secret that I was a very troublesome child in school. In fact, if I was in high school in 2021, I would be behind bars right now because of the devious lick challenge, because I would have decided to steal an Apple monitor from the front office. Even all the way back in 4th grade, I was being a fuckhead. So much so that my teacher at the time separated me from the rest of the class because I was being a quote-unquote severe distraction to my fellow peers, or whatever that means. She ended up putting me in the front right corner of the class and then put this thing behind me so that nobody could see the bullshit that I was doing in my seat. And looking back at it, that shit was just basically my own designated retard zone. Cause I just sat there and did not do any work. I was essentially a waste of space in that class. You could have replaced me with a half-eaten eraser and the productivity of that class would have skyrocketed. But I said all this to show that I've been a problem since forever. I was probably throwing hands with other sperm on my way to the egg. But check it, right? What do teachers do when people like me become their biggest problem? They suspend your dumb ass. Now let me tell you about my non-fighting suspension stories. So back in 10th grade, right? I was known as a man of many things. You know, the one of 2 people in the entire school who could dunk, the thief, of course, the loudest in the room, and the nigga who does not like to wear pants. Oh, don't worry, we'll get back to that last one later. But the most important thing was my hair. I think the funniest thing I could tell you about my hair back then is that I used to walk around with a black power pick sticking out of my hair, but it was still the nappiest thing on the fucking planet. People used to tell me that my hair felt like pubes despite me doing this like a madman 10 minutes ago. But despite all that, I still grew it out because I wanted an afro. But you see, my mom and dad, they weren't having any of that. They're the type of African parents who they don't think that you look responsible and presentable unless they're able to see their reflection in your scalp. So I basically had to get my hair cut every 2 to 5 months. So one day after throwing a tantrum about not wanting to get my hair cut, my dad drove me to the barbershop to potentially remove every hair follicle on my head. Now, the barber that was cutting my hair was a new employee at the place, and he let me notice. And I didn't really think anything of it. This nigga was super excited when I sat down. Like, what the fuck? How bad was he gonna do? The level of ignorance I displayed that day should have been punishable by death. This nigga pushed my hairline back so far that Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z would have clowned my shit despite being a free advertisement for McDonald's. The thing that really pissed me off about the situation too is that when he was lining me up, nigga had the same face of like focus that Albert Einstein probably had when he was figuring out E equals MC squared. The only difference is that Albert Einstein came out with one of the craziest scientific discoveries ever, and this nigga made this bullshit. So obviously, the next time I went to school, I wore a beanie to cover that bullshit up. I got away with it for like one day. Then my old ass study room teacher said, "Take that shit off." I was like, "No, you gonna have to come here and take it off my head." She was like 70 or 80, so she was obviously not about that action. So she just called the principal and that nigga just came and grabbed me out of class. So then after that, I'm sitting in his office and he's asking me, "Do you really want to get suspended over a beanie?" I mean, it was either that or just kill myself from the embarrassment from what was under the beanie. And let me tell you, I was not ready to see God's face that day. So I just took it off and went straight to hell. Nah, I'm bullshitting. What I actually responded with was, "I'm not taking this off." So he just sent my dumb ass home. So if you're sitting there right now thinking that you would have removed the beanie, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and fuck up your hairline right now on purpose and go to school or work or whatever the fuck you do. And if you make it back home without killing yourself because niggas refer to you as LeBron James or Mr. Jefferson 30 times within the first hour of you showing up, I will personally hand deliver you a tuna sandwich. And if you're a vegetarian, tough shit. Now for the next situation, let's go a little further back for 2nd grade Campoleon. Now, when you're in 2nd grade, you find almost anything cool. Like you're just an impressionable little shit that's fascinated by dinosaurs, cartoons, and anything in outer space. But with this day in particular, my fascination was with the very idea that I could wear shorts and pants together. I'm putting both them bitches on in the morning thinking to myself, whoa, are you telling me that I could wear my shorts inside my pants? What the Yeah, this was the beginning of my downfall. Now, I feel I need to say that this was the last day of school. So everybody was like fucked up on sugar and bullshit. And I'm not saying that this is a justification for my actions, right? I'm just saying that it allows you to put the pieces together. So now picture this, right? I'm in class, hyped up on bullshit, and it's the last day, and I'm still hyped over the fact that I figured out that thing about pants and shorts. I'm standing there thinking somebody needs to know about this. Now, here's the thing, right? A normal human being would simply verbalize this concept to another human being. I just simply don't function like that because the first part of that requires me to be normal. So when I couldn't tolerate having this brilliant idea trapped in my mind any longer, I went up to one of my friends who was a girl, mind you, and said, "Hey, Ashley, look at this." I pulled down my pants and showed her my shorts. I thought I was like Steve Jobs unveiling the new iPhone in that moment. Whole time I was just like the nigga who wears a trench coat in the parking lot mall waiting for a new person to flash. So I should say, in my memory, right, the next 5 minutes after that are a complete blur. I don't recall what the fuck happened. But the next thing I do remember is that I was sitting in the front office. So then they called my parents to come and pick me up, but no one really had the time to, so I just had to sit there in the front office and wait. And that whole time of 4 hours that I was sitting in that office chair, watching people pass by celebrating the end of school, my small child brain could not wrap around the idea of me doing wrong. I'm sitting there thinking like, bro, I didn't show her my underwear. What the fuck did I do wrong? Oh, my dear Compolion, everything. You did everything wrong. If you're questioning whether or not I technically got suspended since I didn't go home, that's fair. But see, when you've gotten sent to the office as many times as I did, there is a likelihood that your ass cheeks probably got imprinted upon the office chairs like mine probably did. So in a weird way, those chairs were like a second home to me, so I'm counting it as a suspension. Alright, you remember how I said that in 10th grade I was known as the guy who doesn't like to wear pants? Okay, so my school at the time had a no athletic attire policy, right? Even though bitches were allowed to wear short shorts with half they pussy falling out, and niggas were allowed to wear wife beaters, even though that's basically a fucking jersey. But my thing was, I like to wear basketball shorts all the time. It didn't matter if it was rain, sleet, hail, snow, and it don't even snow in our part of California, but if it did, I would be wearing them shits. Yes, I was basically the kid who inspired this meme. Now, the only person who ever really enforced this rule was the principal. So I always went out of my way to avoid him when I was wearing shorts. I even started wearing black jeans around my neck like a scarf, just in case this nigga caught me so I could put them on immediately. Shit, I even had a drawer in my advisory class that I had an extra pair of pants in, just in case I forgot to bring my shits from home. You're probably asking right now, why are you putting in so much effort just so you can wear shorts at school? Like, are you crazy? Yes, my nigga, I think I've made it very clear from the very first minute of this video. How did you not come to that realization? Anyway, one day I was walking from first period to second with my pants on my neck like a scarf. And after a minute, I spot the principal and avoid that man like I avoid homeless people after walking out the store with groceries. Then I enter my second period class. But little did I know, my teacher had gotten the memo that I was supposed to be wearing pants. So when he spots me, he's like, "Wearing pants as a scarf is not a fashion statement. Put them on." This nigga pulled up to school every day dressed like a newly freed slave that wanted to look presentable. He had no right to speak to me about fashion. But I told him, I'll put them on. I start to put them on, and then I noticed that something is wrong. My testicles hurt. Apparently, I had grabbed a smaller pair of pants when I left the house. I could have verbalized this to my teacher, right? He might have understood. Instead, I decided to say, "Bruh, I can't put these pants on. My balls are in pain." My whole class just burst out laughing. Believe it or not, right? That pissed him off. That nigga yelling behind his desk talking about, "Compolion, put on those pants right now or else I'm calling the principal." As for me, I'm moving my legs around like Candace in the Squirrels in My Pants video talking about, I can't, my balls hurt. My balls are too big for the fucking pants. Yeah, he ain't give a fuck. He called the principal and sent my ass home. You're probably thinking that if I had taken off the shorts, I could have fit the pants. Yeah, I had thought of that too, but I also thought that if I had complained about my balls long enough, my teacher would have felt bad for me and given up.